Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to It's All About Becoming the Podcast, and I am your host, Megan Alexandria. Before we get into today's episode, I want to share something quickly. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, or Amazon Music, make sure you're following the show so new episodes come straight to you each week. You can also subscribe on YouTube. Remember that supporting the show across platforms helps it grow, creates room for future upgrades, and opens the door for sponsors who believe in these conversations and want to help sustain them. Thank you again for all of your support. And now let's get into today's episode. This time of year comes with a lot of expectations, a lot of talk about fixing yourself, doing more, being better, and finally getting it right. And what I've noticed is that most of that pressure doesn't actually help people grow. It usually leads to goals that sound good in January, but then we tend to forget about them in February. So instead of talking about New Year's resolutions, I want to talk about healthy choices. And not the kind of choices that you announce, not the kind that you promise to keep forever, but the kind of healthy choices that you can make today, and then again tomorrow, and then again on a regular day when nothing feels exciting or new. Let me say something that might mess with the way you've been thinking about January. A new year does not come with new discipline. Mhm. January does not bring you a new personality, a new brain, a new set of cravings, a new schedule. You wake up on January 1st as the same person who existed on December 31st. The same habits, the same triggers, the same defaults. So when people say this year is going to be different, I always want to ask, different how? Because if the plan is just a list of things you hope you do, a list of things you swear you'll stick to this time, a list that sounds good when you're motivated, that list usually loses momentum by week 2. Not because you're weak, and it's not because you don't want it, and it's not because you're lazy. It loses momentum because it's not built for real life. Because we know that real life is random. Real life can be stressful. Real life is long days. Sometimes real life is short days. Real life is eating because you're tired, skipping the workout because the day got away from you, snapping at people because you're overwhelmed, starting strong and then hitting the part where no one is clapping for you or encouraging you. That's why I don't want you doing resolutions this year. I want you making healthier choices because choices are what you do when life is normal. Choices are what you do when you're not inspired. Choices are what you do when you're hungry, tired, annoyed, busy, bored, lonely. And this is where mindset comes in. If your mindset is, I need a fresh start, you'll keep needing fresh starts. But if your mindset is, I can make one better decision right now, you stop depending on a perfect moment to become a healthier person. So let's make this simple between us friends. Your year changes when your thinking changes. Then your choices follow. Then your life starts to look different. One of the most important choices we don't talk about enough is the choice to protect your nervous system. Because a lot of what we call bad habits aren't really habits, they are reactions. They're what happens when your body is constantly on edge, when you're rushing, when you're overstimulated, when you're tired but still pushing, when your mind never really gets a break, even when you're resting. If your nervous system is always in fight or flight, you're not choosing from a calm place. You're making choices from survival. And survival choices usually look like snapping, numbing out, scrolling too long, eating whatever closest, saying yes when you really mean no, or avoiding things that you actually care about. That's not a discipline issue. That's a regulation issue. So, when I talk about healthy choices, I'm not just talking about food or workouts. I'm talking about choosing to slow your body down enough so your mind can actually lead you. Things like choosing to breathe before you respond, choosing to stop multitasking every day, choosing to go to bed instead of pushing through to do one more thing, choosing to eat in a way that doesn't spike or crash your energy all day long, choosing not to stay in a constant state of urgency just because that's what you're used to. Here's one simple way to choose your nervous system. Before reacting, before deciding, before responding, take one slow breath and let your body settle first. Not to be calm, just to be present. Decisions made after your body settles are usually better decisions. Those choices don't look impressive on paper, but they change how you show up everywhere else. Because when your nervous system is supported, your choices get clearer, your reactions soften, your patience grows. You don't feel like everything is an emergency. And from that place, healthier decisions start to feel possible instead of forced. And this is why mindset matters so much. You can't outthink a body that's overwhelmed. You have to take care of the system that's making the decisions. And once you do that, choosing better stops feeling like work and it starts feeling more like self respect. And you have to remember that self respect is the moment you decide that your values are non negotiable. Self respect is not an attitude, it's not a quote, it's not a rule that you live by, but it is the thing that kicks in when something is available, but it's not aligned, like a relationship that keeps pulling you into confusion, a situation that keeps requiring you to minimize who yourself. It could be a commitment that keeps taking more than it gives. It could be a conversation that keeps turning you into the version of yourself that you have outgrown. And this is where people get it wrong. They think that self respect is about being tough, and it's not. Self respect is all about being honest. Honest enough to say that I'm not available for anything that makes me betray what I know I deserve. Self respect will not allow you to betray yourself, and it will not allow you to betray the values that God has placed in you. Because you can want a new year all day long. But if you keep saying yes to the things and the people that drain you, or the people or the things that delay you or distorts you, the year is going to look familiar. It's going to look like every other year. So this year, choose self respect. And I can honestly say that this has been a lesson that I myself have been learning over the past few years, because when I look at certain situations that I was not happy in, sometimes I can pinpoint that a lot of these situations happened because I was not respecting myself. I wasn't respecting my talent. I wasn't respecting my time. I wasn't respecting my boundaries. And if you don't respect these things in your life, then you can't expect for other people to respect these areas of your life either. And this really reminds me of the scripture that says to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I know that we've all heard teaching and preaching on this scripture, and people will always emphasize that you can't love other people until you love yourself. But I think sometimes that we forget that tucked inside of love is respect. And you can work on trying to love yourself all the time, but if you don't also work on respecting yourself, then it's going to be easy for other people to just willingly disrespect you. And the biggest way that you can respect yourself is by respecting the body that God has given you. And one of the ways that you can work on this in 2026 is making the healthy choice and decision to go see a nutritionist. Listen, I understand. We all want to go into this new year with this thinking that we want to be able to lose weight or get into shape. But guess what? All of our bodies are different. We are all different types of people. So I want you to make the decision this year to actually sit down with a nutritionist to see what type of food is going to be beneficial to you and to your body. Because guess what? What works for me is not going to work for you, and vice versa. And listen, sometimes things just don't work for you, no matter how well they work for other people, no matter how much science is backed by it. Sometimes some things just don't work for you. So that's why I say that you need to make the healthy decision to go sit down with a nutritionist. This is going to be someone that you can create a plan with based on your background, based on your medical history, based on your goals, and not someone else's goals. And this is something that I am definitely going to be getting into, and hopefully I will be able to bring the nutritionist on one of the episodes, because I think this is really important, because I am understanding that as I'm getting older that my diet has to change. It's not a matter of if I want it to change. It's a matter of my diet has to change if I want to be healthy and live the healthy lifestyle that I want to live. Another healthy choice that does not get talked about often is making the healthy choice to be silent. And when I say this, I don't mean silence as in avoidance. I mean taking the opportunity to remain silent. Listen, in 2026, everything doesn't have to be said. Everything doesn't need your energy. Every person that you come across doesn't need you to go off. It doesn't have to happen in 2026. I want you to make the healthy choice of silence. Sometimes silence is your biggest asset. You have to remember that scripture in the Bible is one of my favorite ones. It says, "And he opened not his mouth." Even when Jesus had the opportunity and the right to open his mouth and to get everything off of his chest and to prove everything about who he was, he chose silence in that moment. And I think that this is a healthy choice and a decision that we have to consciously make in 2026, because a lot of times we can be people who we just have to get it off our chest. We have to let that person know. We have to give them a piece of our mind. We have to do it because we don't feel better if we don't. We don't want to hold it in. But guess what? There's a way that you can get things off of your chest without even opening your mouth. And guess what? That way is prayer. So that means that if we're making the healthy choice to remain silent, that means that we're also making the healthy choice and decision to remain in prayer longer than usual. This means that we have to spend a lot of time with God Himself. And this segues directly into my next point of making the healthy decision to make sure that we are aligned in every choice that we make. And when I say aligned, I don't mean according to your thoughts and your plans, but according to the will of God. And I know that sometimes it can be difficult because sometimes we don't know what God's plan is. We don't know what He's doing. But the closer you get to God, then the more open He is about His plans with you. He is not the type of God that wants to withhold anything from you. He doesn't want that. He wants you to seek Him out. He wants you to search out the answers. He wants you to spend time with Him. He doesn't want you to just go to Him when you need something, or go to Him when you're hurt, or go to Him, when something is just out of control and chaos is going on. No, He wants you to come and spend time with Him. So I honestly believe that 2026 is the year that you need to make the decision, the healthy decision to make God your best friend. You and God need to be locked in 2026. I mean, it has to be so obvious about the relationship that you have with God that it is going to force people to have a relationship with God themselves just in order to have any kind of interactions with you. Now, listen, we've all seen that meme on Facebook that says that I'm so close to God that if a man wants to date me, that he has to go to God to get to me. Listen, and we've all shared it, okay? But here's the thing, in 2026, we have to actually mean it. And not just when it comes to dating, but when it comes to life. So, this next healthy decision is in 2026, I want you to make the choice that you have relationships that feel reciprocal. And when I say this, I am not talking about romantic relationships at all. I am talking about friendships. And I'm also talking about building new relationships that are going to help you get to the next level. Because in 2026, we are not going to, or we shouldn't have this mindset of, I'm going to do it all myself. I don't need anybody. I don't need any new friends. That's not the type of mindset that we need to have in this new year. And so, because that's not the type of mindset that we need to have, and if you've been having that type of mindset for years, then I understand that it's going to take some time. And so, one of the things that you can do is make the healthy decision and the choice to choose better relationships. And in your choosing of better relationships, you also need to think about, do you need a mentor for where you're going at the next stage of your life? We don't understand just how powerful mentorship can actually be. And being able to have access to someone who is at the level of where we want to go and asking them to mentor us can be a strength to us because we're going to have not just the access, but you're going to be able to have that wisdom and have that insight to be able to make the decisions. But again, this all hinges around choosing a mentor and a relationship of where you want to be. So, this is why getting out of that comfort zone is going to be important in 2026. Because if you and everyone you know are comfortable at the level that you're at, then there's no one to hold you accountable for the level that you want to go. And you can want to elevate, you can want better for your life. But if you don't have that accountability, then you're going to be stuck. Another healthy choice I want to talk about is choosing to learn something new this year. And yes, this sounds elementary, but hear me out. I don't mean learning for productivity or even credentials because, sometimes we as women have a habit of just going to school for anything sometimes. I mean learning for the health of your brain. What a lot of people don't realize is that your brain needs novelty to stay flexible. So, this means when you learn something new, your brain actually creates new connections. And that's not motivational, that's actually biology. So, learning challenges your brain to adapt. It strengthens how you think, how you process emotions, how you respond instead of react. It's one of the most practical ways to support long term mental health. And this matters because a lot of us stay mentally tired, mentally rigid, or mentally overstimulated, not because we're doing too much, but because we're not engaging our brain in the right way. So, learning something new forces you to slow down, okay? It's going to force you to focus and to be a beginner all over again. And that does something powerful for you. It pulls your brain out of survival mode and back into growth mode. And this doesn't have to be anything big. It could be learning a new language or taking some type of new class, reading something new that you normally wouldn't read, learning how to cook a new type of food, learning an instrument, maybe. You can even learn how to manage your finances better. Like that would be a big one. But the point isn't to be a master at this new thing. The point is to stimulate your brain. And when you choose to learn something new, you're choosing to keep your brain active. You're choosing to keep your brain adaptable and resilient. And that's a healthy decision, just as much as what you eat or how much you sleep, which I didn't even get into yet. But for 2026, instead of asking, what do I need to fix? A better question might be, what do I want to learn this year? Because learning changes how your brain works. And when your brain works better, your decisions usually work better as well. I want to end with one more healthy choice that doesn't get framed correctly. Choosing to enjoy your life even when it doesn't look the way that it would. And this isn't motivational at all. This is definitely neurological. So, your brain does not wait for ideal circumstances to function well. In fact, if you research in neuroscience and psychology, it shows the complete opposite. So, when enjoyment and curiosity and gratitude are postponed, your brain stays in a stress oriented loop. When enjoyment is practiced, the brain strengthens pathways tied to emotional regulation, resilience, and long term well being. Well, here's the part most people miss: enjoyment is not a reward system, it's a regulation system. So, when you allow yourself to experience pleasure, meaning, laughter, or satisfaction now, then your brain releases neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin in a balanced way. And that improves your focus, it improves your motivation, it improves your decision making. It actually makes you more capable of building the life you want, not less. But on the other hand, constantly telling yourself, I'll enjoy life once things look different, this keeps your nervous system in a constant state of anticipation and dissatisfaction. So your brain adapts to that delay. It learns that contentment is always postponed. That's not ambition, that is conditioning. And this is why people reach milestones and still feel empty. Your brain wasn't trained to experience enjoyment along the way. So, choosing to enjoy your life isn't denial, it's not settling. It's teaching your brain that safety, satisfaction, and meaning are allowed now, not someday. That might look like enjoying where you are while still wanting more, laughing even when things aren't perfect, celebrating progress without waiting for the full picture to come together. From a brain perspective, that's not complacency, that's resilience. And resilience is one of the strongest predictors of long term success, health, and emotional stability. So, if you choose to enjoy your life this year, even as it's unfolding, you're not falling behind. You're actually supporting the system that helps you move forward. And that's where I'll leave you today, not with a list to follow or a promise to make, just a reminder that the way you choose shapes more than the goals that you write down. Hold on to that, let it challenge you, and let it guide how you move. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and I will talk to you in the new year. See you later, friends.